Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin and Cardano. In this video we're going to take a look at both charts, both Bitcoin and Cardano, and we can see that Bitcoin and the whole crypto market is recovering a little bit, right? That is what we talked about in the last few videos, that after the drop that happened yesterday, we can now expect a little bit of a recovery. And you can see it throughout the entire crypto market. Yes, there are a few exceptions which aren't doing a lot, but most cryptos that are not stable coins are moving higher, pretty much all of them. Some of course more than others, and also Cardano is now starting to move up nicely after it dropped to 75 cents, I think yesterday that was. So let's take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin, in my view here, for everybody who's new on the channel, in a correction that has now nearly taken a year to play out. So we obviously had here the all-time high back in April 21, the back then all-time high. Then we started a first corrective wave, a wave A, then a corrective wave B, and then a corrective wave C. So it's this three-wave pattern that we're looking at here yet at the moment. And ABC is typically what is playing out in most cases. Obviously there are various subwaves and everything, but this is what I'm looking at. This impulsive move to the upside that led to the all-time high in April 21 was a 5-wave structure, a larger wave 1, and therefore I think we are currently in a larger wave 2. The larger wave 2, or the ABC waves here, with currently the C wave going on, that should come into the target area below the previous wave A. That is what Bitcoin typically does, and it's always important, if you take a look at a certain asset, that throughout the lifetime of that asset, the behavior doesn't really change. So when, for example, Bitcoin usually does a very clean completion of a correction, which means a lower low, yeah, a final sell-off, then it tends to do that going forward as well. And that is why I'm so convinced. I mean, it's not guaranteed, yeah, please understand, it's not guaranteed, but that's why I am so strongly of the opinion that we are going to go here at least to 28.7 or 29k as a minimum target for that correction, rather lower. Okay, so if we zoom in now for Bitcoin, we can see that you know, it was already a few days ago, before actually the invasion into the Ukraine, that I talked about that I would expect a larger correction or something more substantial. I did expect it actually here. That was around the 22nd, 23rd of Feb, and it did recover a little bit, but it was nothing too convincing. And then obviously the Ukraine invasion started. We had a bit of a sell-off, but Bitcoin did hold really well. Yeah, I would have expected in such a case something like a capitulation, something really, really strong. But yeah, it did hold comparatively really well. Now, when we were then down here, I told you again that we can expect a correction or a retracement to the upside, a recovery basically, because the indicators just showed that Bitcoin was very much oversold. This is actually what I expected here already, but the move from down here from 36.5 to 39.5 was not really too noteworthy, but this here is more substantial, from 34.5 to nearly 40k. Yeah, that is more substantial, and that is what I think here currently now the wave 4 playing out. So where are we? Obviously we are in this wave C currently that I mentioned to the downside. Within the wave for C, you have again 5 waves, and again waves within waves. So within that wave C, we are, I think, currently in the wave 5 here in blue, and within that wave 5 we have again a 5-wave structure. And as you can see that here, 1, 2, 3, this was probably the completion of the wave 3. We are now in the wave 4. It did hit perfectly the target area that I gave you for this recovery. As you can see here, how very well it is adhering to that target area. It tried to get out of the target area a few times, didn't really succeed. Just because it popped out of it a little bit, it doesn't invalidate it. This wave 4 would only really be invalidated as soon as the price target gets into, or the price is getting above 41.5k. That would then the price area of wave 1. But this target area here in yellow is typically the price range for a wave 4, depending on, well, all related to Fibonacci retracement levels. And therefore I think we could see here again another turnaround now to the downside. But if the price moves up a little bit higher, there will be strong resistance at 41.5k. And if it breaks above 41.5k, then it can get all the way up to 46.5k. So these are the resistance levels, yeah, and only above 46.5K, that is also when it would break here or get at least to this head and shoulder neckline here in white, this ascending trend line. This is the head and shoulder neckline of well, the neckline of this head and shoulders pattern, yeah, that again, when it was broken, would also suggest a target area in the low 20K area, yeah, so pretty much in line with my own expectation, even though my price expectation is more related to Fibonacci levels and the Elliott Wave method. But also here this pattern would show us that we can get into that area. But yeah, this is where we currently are. Primarily, I of course still expect another sell-off into my target area between 20 and 29K. Here, I think, looking at the indicators, Bitcoin still has a little bit more room for actually further recovery. So I don't think it would have a problem to get to 41.5K. I expect it to face resistance there. Yeah, if it gets to 41.5K, of course, I can't tell you if it's going to break out of this pattern here now of this target area with these two Fibonacci levels. But if it breaks out, it first needs to get above 39.7K. Then it can get to 41.5. And as I said, only if it breaks above 46.5, then it really invalidates this whole, or not, yeah, well, it then invalidates this immediate sell-off scenario. What we would then see is a little bit of an extension of this whole correction. I did explain it before. Again, we are far away from getting there anyway, but what we could see then, if it moves here to that neckline again, maybe breaks above it, you know, like, oops, a bit like that, then we could move all the way maybe up to 65K again, not to new all-time highs. In my view, the indicators wouldn't support it. Also, the structure of Bitcoin still looks very much corrective. But this is another wave count that would then become live, yeah, and activated. And there, in this scenario, then Bitcoin could get all the way up to 65K, but then again, come down in the end and move into the target area. This would just be an extension of this whole correction. So it would not really change the whole outcome. It was just extended, yeah, further back, yeah, and it would take probably a few more months to actually play out. But historically, what we've seen with Bitcoin is that every cycle pretty much takes a year. So a correction takes the year, a move to new highs takes a year. So if you look back on the Bitcoin chart, you can actually see that. There's also a reason why I don't really believe in those 4-year cycles anymore. It is more, it's not really related to those 4-year cycles. I don't know who came up with it, but for me, they are not really relevant. And yeah, I think every cycle so far took actually a bit longer. But if you really take the swing highs and swing lows in the Bitcoin chart, it's always roughly a year, sometimes a bit less, yeah, sometimes a bit more, but round about a year. And this correction has started back in April 21. So, you know, we are nearly also here. We have completed nearly a year. And my ideal scenario, that is also what I would primarily expect, that from here we target the next downturn here. So yeah, it could move up to 41.5K or not. Doesn't really matter to me, because everything would still take place in this scenario. And then we would here now move down in the next final wave. That could be a bit of a capitulation wave. Bear in mind, a wave 5 again consists of 5 waves, so you get your ups and downs, yeah. And it will now get interesting, because we're now pretty much here at a key decision point, turning point, where Bitcoin really could move down and really get that final sell-off done. That is actually what I'm hoping for. And then as we get into this target area, we should get a turnaround. And also many altcoins are already very, very close to their target areas, or have already reached their target areas, and should see a turnaround soon as well. Looking at Cardano also recovering here today. We also talked about a recovery for Cardano in line with Bitcoin's recovery, and Cardano also yeah, recovering actually as per coin market cap. I think I did see it here around 13%. So we can take a look at coin market cap. Yeah, 13% at least in the last 24 hours. And I read a lot of more positive news now about Cardano, and that more and more people are now accumulating actually in the region between 50 and 80 cents. So that is also probably here why you found solid support around 75 cents. But in the end, Cardano is still making lower lows, still making lower highs. And I think as it obviously broke below that recent or that previous Fibonacci level at around 95 cents, that was the 0.618 fib level, it is now on its way to the next fib level. So when one Fibonacci level gets broken, ideally you want the price to get to the next fib level, and it oftentimes does. And the next level would be 55 cents. In worst case, it could also drop below that. to 30 cents. And then in here, it will find a turnaround. Again, not guaranteed, but this is pretty much the last chance where it can find a turnaround. Other cryptos are also in line with that, should now get their turnaround done very, very soon. Also here, obviously, Cardano already in a wave 5. That is the current scenario here. And within this wave 5, what can we expect here? Possibly Cardano might still be in that wave 3 here. So when we again take a look at that as per the Elliott Wave count, I think what we could have seen here. And so what we could have seen here is a wave 1, 2. Yeah, this could be the wave 3. Could ideally go a little bit longer, 3. Then the next upside wave would be a wave 4. And then that final sell-off. So we're really getting very close here to the completion of a correction. Yeah, very, very close. And yeah, I'm excited about that. We are, yeah, it is getting closer. It's getting closer. It's what we've been waiting for. And overall, yeah, who would have thought Cardano below $1? Crazy. But a lot of other cryptos, of course, also at levels that half a year ago we wouldn't have thought are possible. Yeah, so we are moving here towards the target areas that we have been talking about for weeks and months now. For Cardano, I had to adjust the target area. I was a little bit too bullish. We had the previous wave count before that was broken. Now we're talking about this higher level wave count. And yeah, for Bitcoin, obviously we talked about the Bitcoin target area and the correction since November. Now, one more thing here to show you here on the Cardano chart is here the 8-hour chart. I like the 8-hour chart for cryptos. It's more useful, the 8-hour chart, than for example for stocks and shares, because the 8-hour chart on the Bitcoin chart shows you more, and Cardano as well, with the cryptos that are running 24 hours. In contrast to some other assets and most other assets, you can actually see things that you typically can't see on other yeah, with stocks and shares if you use the 8-hour chart. Therefore it's quite useful here for the crypto market. And we can see here at the moment the 8-hour chart prints here a bullish crossover for Cardano. So we could expect maybe now already this wave 4 to start, this recovery. Maybe we are already in it, but at the moment Cardano only making a lower low. But to be fair, in a wave 4 scenario, it should not drop, it should not move above 92 cents. Okay, it would then invalidate that downturn here, because this is the previous low here of the wave 1, and the wave 4 should not move into the price range of the wave 1. So maybe that wave 3 that I showed you here, where we currently probably still are in, needs to move down a little bit more before you can expect a little bit of a more substantial recovery for Cardano, which would then be that wave 4, similar to what we are currently here seeing with Bitcoin. Okay, yeah, so that is my view here on Bitcoin and Cardano. Hopefully you liked the update. If you did, please smash the like button and subscribe. And if you really like the content, maybe check out the channel membership, where you can get access to Discord, Telegram, and a weekly live stream. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.